Okay, folks, good morning. We're going to get right back into it. Here we go. Where's my little siphoning device? All right. We're going to get our little drops of color here. Actually, I cleaned this area up so nice. Got rid of my paper towels. Let's clean this up here. This is such a strange material. I don't mean the paper towel. We're talking about this this wash. It's rather an oddity there. We got that one. Mid-brown, which is very red. So these Vallejo style tops, even though this isn't Vallejo paint, it has Vallejo style top. Yeah, see, it's very reddish. This mid brown. These Vallejo style tops can have a fair amount of leakage in them, especially if the paint or liquid that's in there is very watery. So some of these washes are very watery. The AK or ammo mid tops, their paint is more watery than Vallejo, so it's more of an issue for them. You just get some leakage in here. Unfortunately, you really have to shake the shit out of some of these because it's thicker than other ones. This one's going to have scum in it. Yeah, okay. Yeah, this the light brown and the light tone are definitely goopier. Eden Blanco, welcome. Just painting some tanks, or just really, they're painted, just weathering them at this point. And then we'll have two more for the 8th Army. I was going to say Desert Rats, but no, these didn't. Desert Rats technically should be 7th Armored Division, and these will not be for the 7th Armored. 7th Armored in Operation Crusader used all cruiser tanks, or honeys. At least at the beginning. I think when they got tank replacements towards the end of the Operation Crusader, they actually might have gotten some tanks that they normally would not have used, just because that was what was available. What's up, Justin? How many kids are you hiding in your basement? Well, you didn't pay attention, because where I live, you can't have a basement. I've actually never lived in a house with a basement. And I've never had to shovel snow. Never lived in a house with a basement. Didn't deny the kid part. Okay. You have a basement that's 12 feet deep. Wow. That sounds like it's bigger than your house, man. I've actually never lived in a house that has a subfloor. Never lived in a house where you can like, how do you say it? Thank God my headache's going away. That's why we're drinking the red shit. We actually got this from for somebody else that was visiting. And then by accident, I realized, if you're dehydrated, drink some of that Gatorade that's there, and it helps. And I'm guessing I'm dehydrated. I don't really know why I have a headache. I had a fair amount of water yesterday compared to other days. Oh well, it's on the mend. I was having a dream where I had a headache, and then I woke up with one. I'm like, that's kind of weird. Basements are a saver. Show tank close up. Okay. We got to flip the camera though. Because this actually takes pretty decent video. Let's see. Let's look at Horace. Horace is more complete than Hermione. I know, and it's not a Harry Potter thing. I haven't. Oh, hold on a second. Here we go. These aren't super detailed models. They're war game quality models, but they'll do. This one's still going to need a little bit of dusting on top of it, dry brush dusting, but it's mostly complete. Unfortunately, it's kind of plain looking. It's only one color. But that's what these guys were painted in this particular battle. And what battle this is? It's Operation Crusader in World War II. Check it out. Super interesting battle that it was extremely seesaw-like. And here's the other one. So this is the 8th Royal Tank Regiment, and all of their tanks had a name that started with an H. So I think the known examples are Harry, Harold, I think like one other one. So just kind of keep the thing going. But we're going to put an antenna on them too. An antenna makes a big difference. I don't care what scale you're doing. Thanks, Justin. I don't care what scale you're doing. The makes a big difference. Now, I did pick up the room a bit, although I still have probably the tidiest room of anybody who works on this kind of stuff. And of course, we got all the craft paints are here. All of the Yehos and the paint sets are up there. The computer that sometimes I film by. Let's see here. This is odds and ends of craft stuff that I use. Some of the projects that are upcoming. Light box I don't use much, with a background that I've painted. Actually, 2 backgrounds, because you could flip them. Paintbrushes galore. That's not all of them. This that I was working on a little bit yesterday. This is the extra packs that are going to end up. They're not glued yet. I'm kind of trying to decide what's going to go on what. With the green stuff packs that I've been making. Extra parts. I actually cut myself, and no, not with this, but these extra pieces that you get, I trimmed them up, and to cut the extra flash. And it wasn't on this one. It was when I was looking for these pieces in my other ones. These edges are really, really sharp. And I ended up poking what finger was it? And it was on my left hand. I was so proud of me. I usually get hurt on my right hand, and then it bleeds like crazy. I'm putting pressure on it. Ring finger, left hand. And, it wasn't a lot of blood, but man, it hurt. Like, it just punched it through. So I got to be careful when I'm snipping those things. The vacuum cleaner, which I haven't used in a while. Just a little handheld vacuum cleaner. And that's it. And this is actually where everything goes through. It's the 5G internet thing. So that's it. What display stuff here with all the tanks. Oh, I'd have rearranged this. We put all the Africa Corps on their own. We split the Africa Corps and the Brits. So the Brits are here, and the Africa Corps are there. And I ended up, I guess, condensing some of the late war British down here. I moved the smoke all the way to the bottom, and that allowed me to move the buildings that were on this level here back up to this level. So now we've got a space for the Africa Corps to grow, and the 8th Army to grow, because, well, I'm going to run out of space too. But that's what we did. Good morning, Marcus. So yeah, this is the 8th Army that we're working on. I'm eventually not going to be able to put the figures here because I got a shitload of figures to paint. Yeah, the video comes out pretty good. And these are all 20mm, 1/72 scale. And see this Crusader here? Oh, it's painted just plain with no color, just the same as the other ones. We got to put a turret number on it and a name, and there'll be 5 other ones just like that. So yeah, this space here is going to run out of. We're going to run out of space in no time. So yeah, and here's the bad guys up here. And yeah, all the other stuff. Marcus, did you see the news that the French Ron came out with a Panther D? I will resist. I do not need to go paint a Panther D right now. As much as I like Panthers, but I like all tanks, so. Alright, so let's get back to where we're at here. The only problem with the wooden floor that we talked about, Justin, is because you're rolling on this, I've got to put one of these down. I've got to put a plastic mat, or I would just eat up this damn floor. So that's the only thing. All right, let's get back to where we were. Yeah, the video actually comes out pretty well here, so I don't mind doing a little tour here from time to time. We've done a couple of them. And I don't mind doing it because the video actually turns out, it looks pretty good. I'd hate to do it, it looks like shit, you know, but. So, back to Hermione. I don't have any more hydrangea. That would be a really long-winded one as well. The British have interesting names for some of their things. Sometimes it's flowers. Sometimes it's Greek gods or goddesses or monsters or things like that. I generally like their naming of things, especially their ships, and I really like the way that they handle the ones that have adjectives. The adjective names, inflexible, indomitable, all those kind of things. I really like that. I dislike the way the U.S. names a lot of their ships. They're named after people that nobody knows who they are, and because they have a very common name like Johnston, and there's many Johnstons, they might have to use their first and their last name on a ship, and I'm just not a fan of, Albert Q. Johnston. Like, it just sounds silly, but does plastic mats work well? Mats work well. I can see the car on the desk. Who makes it? The car on the desk. The car on the desk. The car on the desk? I have a car here. I can see the car on the desk. Who makes it? Desk. Car. I need more info. I'll be happy to tell you what it is. I don't know what you're referring to. And both of these desks are IKEA. That one actually will crank up. This is the original one. I want another one like that. Oh, you waited 2 years. Well, I'm sorry, we don't have that model anymore. Like, stop changing shit. Buy the tank. Oh, this little guy? The Kubelwagen? This is a Fujimi one. I believe this came with the Stug. And a motorcycle that's a piece of crap. And there's a little pintle mount here for the MG34. So we're probably going to put one of those in there at some point. Convertible? Yeah, I guess it is. I never thought about that. A Kubelwagen is a convertible. Huh. I never thought about that. Oh my God, the headache's almost gone. Thank you, Jesus. I'd rather have explosive diarrhea than a headache. Well, it'd be kind of hard to film that. Because even if I had an extra large diaper, you'd still hear, backblast. I never thought of. I should get that. I should do something like that. It's like, oh, we're gonna go for a ride in my convertible. Oh, really? What do you have? And it's a Volkswagen thing. Although I knew somebody who had a Volkswagen thing painted like a Kubelwagen and Panzer Gray. Of course, I think those things had like 35 horsepower or something ridiculous. Like, Volkswagen thing, I think, is a lot bigger than a Kubelwagen. Kubelwagen is very, very, very narrow. Almost go-kart like. I never cared for the Schwimmwagen. I thought the Schwimmwagen was kind of ugly. So what else is new? And then I'll take this to work. And I have a bigger container to drink water out all day long. Now, but second, coffee. Yeah, I don't know why. I don't know why it would be. The only thing I had different yesterday, I was trying to figure that shit out because I'm like, if there's a way I need to like prevent headaches, I'm like, I'm doing that because I really don't like headaches. I had some alcohol, but man, I literally had it like, it can't be that because I had a shot glass and a half over 4 hours and I was sipping on it. So that's just like, hell, I didn't have a buzz. Yeah, I don't know. But I resisted priming the Czech 38s yesterday. I actually went to bed pretty early. I think I was in bed by 9, before 9. And I resisted painting those. I want to do some work. I'm glad I got that area under control. That's usually, that desk is usually the catch-all. But I usually I don't get told to clean up my room. I usually tell myself, like, man, it's when it takes a little too long to find stuff, it's time to move things around. And most of it is just like paper boxes. You'll get something and it comes in a box. You get something that's this big and it comes inside a box that's this big inside something else. That's like, there's just too much waste of stuff. And I'm not necessarily worried about saving the earth. I'm talking about it's wasteful. It's wasteful to just have all of this packaging. And the only reason to keep the packaging is like something's wrong with it and you have to return it. But it rarely is. Maybe it's eye strain. Maybe, although right now I'm not straining. I did paint for 4.5 hours, but I didn't even go to bed with I don't know what it is. Blood pressure? I don't know. You get headaches from doing hand sewing. Oh. I remember when I was in home ec in middle school, and my mom, very traditional, she had a fit because they were showing me how to sew a button on. And I'm like, I think that's a good skill to have. Oh, we had to make an apron. They're like, one of the things was you had to make an apron. She's like, oh my God. I don't care. As long as I don't have to wear a skirt or curtsy, I don't give a shit about doing that stuff. I think sewing would be cool. Seriously, I mean, I go in them every time my daughter goes and she does, I was going to say whittling. No, she does the female equivalent of whittling, knitting. And I like going to the fabric store with her. Although last time that we went to the fabric store, we had a really bad experience. Everything that she picked up, like for yarn and stuff, was just all destroyed, like just in really bad shape. That store was upside down, and then we find out that I just saw on the news that Joann's Fabrics, all the stores are closing. I said, yeah, they were a freaking mess. Made like Walmart look, What is my favorite liquor? Good morning, Mr. White. What is my favorite liquor? I don't have one. I can tell you, okay. I can tell you, of all, I can't tell you what my favorite liquor is, but I can tell you what my least favorite ones are. The ones I would choose last, let's put it that way. And I don't drink often. But my least favorite one of the whiskey, rum, vodka, all of the food groups of liquor, my least favorite one would be by far rum, because it's sweet. And I'm not a fan of it spiced. I can drink it, but that's the one I'm gonna go, if they have a bunch of things out there and well, like the lounge that we went, what lounge did we go to on our flight recently? It was the British Airways lounge in London. I want to say it was the British Airways lounge in London before we got on the plane from London to Madrid. And they had, like the stuff that you normally have, like your buffet of like breakfast foods or whatever. And then they had this bar area. And I am not royalty. I don't need to be waited on. I'd rather have a place, for instance, I'd rather have a place that I can fill in my own sodas however the hell I want than ask somebody for that, right? It cuts somebody out of the equation. And they had liquor there. You could make your own drinks. That was fucking awesome. Now, I only had very little, but it was neat because, you could do whatever. Yeah, rum would be the one I touched the least. Vodka would probably be the second one. I don't go like, hey, I'm gonna make a drink. Let me put something and then put vodka in it. I don't do that. I'd rather something that has its own inert taste to it. A lot of people dislike gin. I think gin is pretty versatile, as long as you don't get one that's super florally. But I like to talk about it more than actual drinking. But you feel the same way about rum. Yeah, a lot of people like it. As I've gotten older, I realize what if I feel yucky after having a few drinks. I was gonna say after getting drunk. See, I use drunk differently. I say I got drunk, meaning I got a heavy buzz, not like I was incapacitated. And I think that's what people say, they're incapacitated. But if I've had more alcohol than I can drive, that I should be driving in, I call that drunk, and that's kind of a overstating it, but yeah, I'm not a fan of rum. I'm not a fan of, and as I've gotten older, I can't drink sweet drinks because I just feel like terrible afterwards. Um, it's like you're trying to process all the sugar and the alcohol. It's just too much. I just feel yucky. So, but I rarely drink. I like to talk about it. But and I never really drank a lot ever. It was never a forbidden thing for me at home. So I just like never. It's just something you do when there's people over. Well, it depends who's over, but um, I behave better when I drink because I'm more sociable. You like gin because I love tonic, man. I had a great gin and tonic, and I had when I was on my gin and tonic phase meaning that's what I like to drink. That's about the time that I was getting married, and I had 11 of them at my wedding, and I didn't have any hangover afterwards. I don't know who the hell I got married to, but I had 11 gin and tonics. What? Over 6 hours or something. No, I couldn't drive. Um, I had a great gin and tonic on that flight to Madrid. And I was just, I thought it was going to be terrible because, first of all, I prefer Tanqueray to Bombay. And it was Bombay. And I'm like, it's not going to be as good. And then they didn't give me lime, they gave me a lemon. I'm like, the fuck is a lemon doing in my gin and tonic? I mean, I'm from Florida where, you could throw a ball and hit a lime. No, I don't know if there's any limes even in Florida, but man, they're everywhere. You know, you don't have trouble finding a lemon. The hell's a lemon doing here? It was actually really good. I was surprised. Gotta head up. Hope you have a good one. You too, man. When I did drink, it was straight vodka, and I would drink it slow, but I don't drink anymore. Okay. I never tried straight vodka until a couple years ago, and it's all right, but I basically drink straight vodka to get in the mood to paint Russians. So I have been known to be painting Russians and having a little shot glass of vodka and sipping on it and not even getting a buzz because I'm sipping it so slow. It's just for the ambiance. But I never had. I mean, I don't go through liquor. I mean, liquor actually goes bad here before I drink through it. Not really a reason to drink. If my wife and I are watching a program or some show, I don't have a beer. I just, we drink water or soda or something like that. I don't need to like be, you know, however the hell you spell that. Yeah, I don't know how to whistle. Not one of them whistle things. You want to piss me off? Whistle at me at not you, but somebody who's lower on the food chain than me and works for us and wants to whistle to get my attention. Give me one of them South Florida Miami whistles. Oh fuck you! I ain't coming to you. That's the last time somebody did that. I laid into them. These people that show up in the yard and they're like in fucking flip flops and shorts and stuff like that, and they don't want to wear any PPE, and they're late, and everything wants to be done on by their rules, and they don't follow any rules, and they whistle at me. Oh, go fuck yourself. The Miami dog whistle shit. Fuck that. I can holler. I can holler across the fucking yard, and people in the next county can hear me, but can't whistle. We got to do our taxes. Unless they do away with that department, right? Then we don't have to do them this year. If anyone dared whistle at me, they'd be laid out. Well, it's all in how it's done, you know? I'm talking about the South Florida, hey, you motherfucker, whistle. Oh, no. Man, I hate the locals in South Florida. Oh my God, I hate the locals in South Florida. I just remember, Jesus. The land of no respect. What if they whistled at you and they were a Lancastrian? Oh, they're freaking Cleveland too. What's that War of the Roses show that's on? I haven't seen it. Is it like the White Queen or something like that? Is that worth watching, or is it a little too girly for you to have seen it? I don't mind watching girly things as long as there's some historical stuff in it. I can't keep all those shows I haven't seen right, that I haven't seen before, straight. White Queen, Spanish Princess, Scottish this. I just can't. I haven't seen any of them. I haven't avoided it, but I don't have a cool wife when it comes to watching historical girly shit. She's like she don't want to see it. Otherwise, like man, I watch this stuff. You're like I'd watch like 3 or 4 seasons of The Tudors by myself, and I'm like, man, okay, I'm done with that. It's not doing anything for me. You haven't watched it, yeah. The only thing I did about War of the Roses was I did read Dan Jones' book on War of the Roses, or I did have him read it to me, literally, and I thought it was pretty good. I didn't think it was that confusing either. This is a British tank. Yes, sir. And here's another. Yep. We're just weathering little details on this Valentine. Valentine Mark II. Not my favorite British tank by a country mile. I see, I can't even tell you what my favorite British tank is. I love me a Matilda too, but I also like the Crusaders and the A13. So it's difficult. There's so many things that the only one I can narrow down is my favorite Japanese tank is a Hago. First of all, because it's one of the few that doesn't hurt your eyes, and it's cute. And a cute tank doesn't win wars, but it does make you want to build them. Yeah, Hago is really cute. Actually, the one with the 57 millimeter at the front heavy one, I guess it's a medium tank. That one's not bad looking either. I mean, okay, it looks clunky as shit, but it's cute. I mean, I don't know my Japanese tanks. The one that came before the Chiha. Ego or something. I don't know. Yeah, I'm surprised that Ron released the Panthers when he hasn't released the Stugs yet. I'd be more interested in getting a Stug than a Panther. I tried to watch a medieval movie on Netflix recently. I lasted 10 minutes. Is it called Medieval Movie? I just don't really like sitting there watching television. I'm just used to being a little bit more involved what I'm doing than just watching stuff. And I'm just kind of gotten used to whatever it is that I'm doing, I'm putting my own spin on it. I'm painting my own tanks and I get to decide what they look like. I'm playing a game and I make decisions. So I'm not used to like it's already done for you. You just haven't seen it yet. You know. Same here. Need more Stugs, but I'll have to check out Ron's Panther. Might be a reason yet to have another. Loosely based on Jan Siska and the Hussites, supposedly. Lasted 10 minutes, huh? Well, they have so many things that are like aren't worth watching. What was that movie that they did with the guy that with the Star Trek guy where he plays the Scottish King? I think he plays Robert the Bruce. Like the problem, a lot of those things is like, all right, we got to do this battle, but all we have is like 20 guys on foot. How are we going to do that? Well, I don't know how you're going to do it because it's a mounted battle. Or there was like the Dracula one. The guy's on foot all the time. I'm like, those guys fall on horseback. So like stuff like that automatically turns me off. I'm like, I'm not gonna watch it. Um, and there's too many things. There's there's too much English historical programming that focuses either on Arthur, Queen Elizabeth, I don't mean the one, not the second, the first one. Arthur, Queen Elizabeth, Henry V, or Henry VIII. If you got rid of those people, they don't have anything. Like, what about the other freaking kings? You know? What about the other time periods? I mean, how many more Henry V's thing do you want? Now, the problem that I have with Henry V is that the first thing I saw him with was that thing with Kenneth Branagh, which I can't, that in Shakespeare, and I fucking hate Shakespeare because you can't understand what the hell it is. It's not necessarily the stories. It just, you can't freaking like speak freaking modern English, modern RP, right? I need the Cliff Notes version. But if you eliminate all that stuff, there's so much stuff that's missing. I mean, why don't they do something on like the Black Prince? Maybe they do. I've never seen it. You know, Arthur. I mean, even Phil Barker. Go look at the list for the Arthurian list. It's like a fucking page long of him writing about it. Like, fuck Arthur, man. He's probably a make believe dude. Like, do one of the kings that really existed. I would never have built an Arthurian army, ever, for DBA. This can be such a slow process, but I like it. And it adds another little, a little tone in there. I remember when we were doing that tour of London, they brought up, they make such a big deal out of Jack the Ripper. I'm like, those are some rookie numbers, man. You know, if you're going to murder people, you need to be a little bit more dedicated than Jack the Ripper. How many vehicles do I have? I'm probably getting close to 200. 200 painted. Yeah, I've hardly used them at all. But, you know, like I said, this is the purpose of these is to potentially play with them, not, okay, we got to play with them. That's the whole thing. People that want to play games, you know, they just buy stuff that's painted. You know, or there's other ways to play game and not have play a game and not have to worry about painting all this stuff. So that's not like the end goal of it. Look at all the people that build models and just put them in a case. Like they're not going to ever play with them. I know you play in Flames of War. Have you played? Did you play in a Flames of War tournament, Justin? Or is that something that just doesn't interest you? And some people are like, man, I gotta play in tournaments so I can win. And I'm like, I don't play historical games to play in tournaments. I mean, I have by accident. I'd say it's accidental, but I was really dreading to go to work with a headache. So at least that's kind of passed. Got too much thinking to do there. You don't play by the rules. Okay, so no. What's the first thing you changed in the rules? What's the first thing in Flames of War you're like, we ain't fucking doing this? What's the first thing that made you just go, screw you, Battlefront or whoever the hell they are, we're not going to do this. This is stupid. That's a game that if I wanted to play Flames of War, I'd have to change way too much stuff. There's way too much things that just doesn't sit right with me. For starters, it's supposedly a 1-to-1 scale game. One tank represents one tank. Well, if it does, then why is this front and that's flank? Like you should have turret rotation. You know, it's too zoomed out to be still 1-to-1. There's a game back in the day. I don't think I've ever played it because it's before my time, but it was called Panzer, and it was supposedly really detailed for tank combat. The problem is, there's a lot of games like that have a lot of detail for tanks, and then when it gets to infantry, it's like, yeah, don't worry about those guys. What do you mean, don't worry about them? Yeah, there's some folks here. It's almost like, you know, you have infantry, but it's as prominent as it is in World of Tanks. Like there isn't any, you know. So people people used to tell me about that game and how it took so long, and well, I don't necessarily have a problem with a game taking a long time as long as I'm involved. As long as I'm being provided with narrative that is thought provoking, interesting, and you know, But that's me. You don't go by how many miniatures are on the table. You don't go by tanks being touching each other. Like really, tanks realistically really can't operate within themselves of another tank. Just think of it that way. You know, if a tank is this long, it really doesn't need to be closer than that to another tank. Or, you know, you could be like, all right, I'm going to move this way. Yeah, I'm going to move that way as well. And this one has a little bit of an angle. This one has a little bit of an angle. And when you get out to here, they collide and then you got problems, you know? So I'll be right back. I got to go to the little boy's room. Oh man, no sound, son of a bitch. Oh well. And it was about Marcus, so I guess, well, you won't hear that. I'll have to bring it up next time. No, I was just talking about martyrs that, um, like I was looking through when I was looking for the pieces of the Czech 38 to add to mine. I realized I still have a few models to build. One of them is a Eschi Elephant, an Eschi Martyr 3 that I got by accident. When I was trading my stuff in, I decided I used my credit for that from Noble Knight, not realizing I already had other martyrs. And it was one of those, like, I put it in my bag, like, okay, how much credit will this use? And then I never took it back out. It's not a problem, but it basically means I'm going to have 3 martyrs from Plastic Soldier Company and a 4th one from that one. But I felt like there was something I was going to do with it, different, and I don't remember what I was going to do with it. Oh well. And the SU-85s that I got from S Model recently, those I'm probably going to put those together in a couple of months when we do there's a Russia theme build at the club. I think month after next. So that's probably when I'll pull those SU-85s out and do those. But I was just saying that Marcus, I'm sure, is enjoying his SDK of Z11 that he said he was building. Because, Dan, some of those models are just damn near unfriendly putting them together. They fight you the whole damn way. We have this computer interface that we have to use at work that we went to last October. So we've been doing things pretty much the same way until last October, and it's this program that basically everything at work runs through. That I don't know anybody that likes it, and the biggest problem with it is that you have to fight it the entire way. You know, it's like you're basically going on a drive in a pickup truck, with no back seat, just just a bench seat or whatever, and you got a wildcat there with you, and you're fighting the wildcat the entire fucking way, like constantly, you know, and you can't throw him out of the cab. He's there, you're fighting him the whole time. It's just kind of akin to that. I don't know. This is looking kind of complete at this point. Okay, at this point, I'm going to go ahead and take some of this sand. And we're going to hit some highlights. Is there a model you guys have built that you're like, there is no way in hell that I would ever build this damn thing again? Like, you are evil, and there's no way I'm putting this thing together again. I don't think that would ever. I don't think that would ever happen to me because I'm not the world's best model builder, but I'm towards that end of the spectrum compared to the, I can't find my, but I even have things that there's no way in hell I would touch that again. And unfortunately, some of them are vehicles I haven't finished yet. I think I'll finish them, but man, they're just painful. They're just painful, and I don't think they're going to be very durable on the tabletop. And that's one of those that, well, I gotta base them because if I don't base them, they're so fragile and that they're just going to get damaged just trying to pick them up. Luckily, that's kind of the exception to the rule. It's not like that's a very common thing. Back in the day, some of those really difficult kits would have been vacuform kits, which I've seen them. I've never attempted to build a vacuform kit. They're mostly airplanes, I think. And yeah, that's something else. I had such a good time going at the model show in Jacksonville. For the flea market part, because they had stuff priced to sell that I may make I'm definitely going to that show again next year, but it's only once a year. I may go to one of the other ones, just for the day. You don't have to stay in a hotel or anything or use any vacation days for it. They got another one, I think, in June coming up in the middle of the state. They had one guy there that did not have things priced to sell, and I don't think that he sold very many things. But you found some tabletop tanks I did back in high school. You did? Oh man, they still look good to you? I just like looking through shit, you know. I don't even have to buy stuff. I just like looking through stuff that nobody wants. I mean, these have very little detail compared to the Ron's castings, but man, they really do have a lot of detail. All the rivets and stuff. And the Plastic Soldier Company stuff is oversized, so you don't have these rivets that are like hard to see and makes it a little easier. Gonna redo them? You think you're heading to a local show later this month? Maybe you check out secondhand stuff. Yeah, it's sometimes it's it's cool finding stuff that just isn't available anymore. And then on top of that, and if you do a scale like I do in the United States, it's not very popular. It's not a very popular scale anymore. It is for aircraft, but it isn't for tanks. That doesn't mean there isn't anybody who does it. It just means it's not a really popular scale. There was this store, and I wish I could have gone back to it. Sometimes I wish I had a time machine. And you probably end up wasting it on the wrong shit. Instead of going back and killing baby Hitler, we go to a hobby store or something like that. Doesn't exist anymore. I'm sorry, we can't stop the Second World War. We used up all our unobtainium. And this there was a store that was called Kit Bunker in Jacksonville. Jacksonville, about an hour and a half from me. And it was literally in this residential area. And this guy had a garage. It's hard for me to visualize how big the garage is. It was a big garage. If I had to guess, I'd say it's probably twice the size of my garage. Of course, not as tall, because my garage is like 16 fucking feet tall. It's ridiculous. I can't even get into my attic there. It's so damn scary. Yeah, I think my attic's 16 feet or 13 or 4. It's something absurd. You get in there and it's like, man, you could put a freaking plane in there. A small plane with foldable wings. Certainly that plane. What was the name of that plane? The plane that was an Octopussy. Remember the little fold-up plane where he flies in there? You could definitely fit that in there. Well, actually, that came out of a horse trailer, so it's first I saw it, I'm like, fuck, the tail of this plane can fit in here. Anyways, so Kit Bunker was twice the size of my garage. So big, but not the size of a house or anything. And it was filled to the brim. This guy had a fetish for just collecting models. And I don't know whether he ran it was a store. I guess he had some new things there as well, but he had things that weren't available at the time. So like in the early 90s, he'd have like a Matilda 2. And in the early 90s, the Tamiya Matilda 2 was redacted. Redacted was not in production, but you could get one there because it was one that had been out of production for a while. And then at that time, I was never into one. I wasn't into 1/72nd scale. I would have really liked to have seen what he had, but in the early 90s, the only 1/72nd scale stuff there was Hasegawa, Fujimi, Eshi, and all the Eshi split offs, meaning AMT, Ertl, all, you know, because you'd go and they'd be like, oh, this is an Ertl kit. No, it's not. It's still the same as the SU one. That's probably it. At least here in the United States. The MPC kits was 176, same thing. There was a store close by Sheffield that had lots of secondhand stuff. It's still in business, but stopped selling secondhand stuff, sadly. It sounds like you need to take a trip to Sheffield. I always get Sheffield and Belfast mixed up. What are you talking about? They're both cruisers. They both have similar-ish paint schemes, meaning, you know, because I was originally a naval wargamer, so, you know, they've got all those cool British paint schemes. And I get the two mixed up. Meaning, I mean, I know they are significantly different from each other, but, you know, and then if they're in the same battle together, it's really confusing. And I had them both too, so. Yeah, they should have kept Sheffield, man, as a museum ship. That thing was in everything. It even got attacked by swordfish. Talk to you later. Going to work. Oh man, why you gotta be like that? Is it yak shaving day today? I can't remember. No, I don't want to shave today. That adds another 5 minutes to me getting the hell out of here. Northern Adventures. Those GHQ micro tanks you found? Man, GHQ's got to be really expensive for you people in the UK. Because not only they're really expensive now. You know, they've tripled in price, literally. I didn't account for inflation, so maybe there's only doubled in price. But shipping's got to be a screwing for you guys. Is that ever going to get better? Hey Jeffrey, you know about the postal system. Who do we need to doge to get rid of the freaking postal problem? I'll put a good word in and we'll doge the shit out of them and get our shipping back on our hand. You know, 10 years ago, or even less than 10 years ago, the shipping to the UK was just fine. It cost a smidgen more than here in the United States. And it got here in a week. We need to go back to that. Who do we need to doge to? You're a kid when you first did them. They're first tabletop miniatures you ever painted. They don't even make them anymore. Maybe they're GHQ round one. I picked some of those up from somebody. I had some Crusaders that had these really flimsy barrels that would break no matter what. And he had them painted in like a... Man, I wish I would have taken pictures of some of this stuff. I feel like I have them somewhere. Like I've got pictures of some of my old shit. I need to go find that. That'd make a good show. Show some of the stuff that I got rid of. Some of my ships, which, you know, at the time, they look better than most everybody's. But by today's standards, they look like ass. You know, and we didn't have the internet to compare things, you know. I gotta... I bet it's not charged, and good luck for me finding a charger. But remember these? When this thing came out, this thing was state of the art. A digital camera. Like, you mean you can see the picture before you save it? I mean, it's... Oh my God, it's on. I want to say, because I had to post things on YouTube to sell it. How the fuck do you use this thing? Menu. Oh yeah, 2008. There's my daughter from 2008. Wow, this is stuff like this, like There's 521 photos on here. That's a lot, actually. Um, Select by date, mute, theme, startup image. This is a great little camera. It's, megapixel wise, it probably sucks. It actually was really advanced because it's got a battery in here that's rechargeable. And you plug this into the wall and the battery goes in there. I mean, this is still a great method. Remember these things? These things are. Oh, this is my daughter in preschool. Oh, here we go. This is when I was taking. This is when I took some pictures of my Japanese samurai from Peter Pig. I went to Historicon. They were selling these guys, and I stopped everything I was doing and painted a DBA army of them. U.S. reneged on the international. The U.S. reneged on the international postage deal in 2020. You need to doge your new king. Wait, but we don't want the old king back. The old king's shits his pants. We need to put tariffs on stuff so high that you guys have to move your production facilities here. Done. Problem solved, right? What do I have laying out here? Oh, my Armenians. This is my Armenians before I painted them. Laid them all out, old glory figures. Oh, here's a campaign map of the 1067 campaign map. DBA games with people that don't even play anymore. And I just don't mean me. I mean people that like left before. This is what my World War II troops look. I got some World War II pictures here of my troops before I rebased them. They were based in the Wargames Foundry style. Not Wargames Foundry, Games Workshop style. In that book that we talked about yesterday morning or the morning before. Look, and they still had the names on them. I know it's backwards. Oh, look, it's a Photoshop of a DBA problem. Fuck that. Fuck that shit. Great game, but pictures of people that don't play DBA anymore and or are dead, unfortunately. My French Ordnance Army pictures. I guess that's where they came from this camera. It takes decent photos. Oh, this thing. It took me forever to get this thing. And there's the National Championship DBA. I don't even have it up. I have none of my DBA stuff up. I probably should pull that one out. That one's nice, big brass, but basically use this as a camera all the time until I got a phone that took pictures. And it just my Spanish, my Neapolitan Spanish for DBA Renaissance. Even in 2012, Ptolemaics. Yeah, the stuff I'm looking for is earlier than this. And it might be on a memory card somewhere. All right, folks. Well, it's time to go to work. Should do a blast of the past, one of those things here. It will make a lot of game boards getting from GMT more expensive. They will have 35% tariffs before they get posted to the UK, as they were made in Canada. Well, you just have to move here. It's that simple. All right, folks. We'll see you on the next one. Enjoy your Monday. Bye-bye.